Hello, hello, everyone. Tell me what you think of the audio. How's my volume? Is my volume okay? Let me know. Hey, Benji. Hey, Ace. You're the only two guys in here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. How you guys been? It's been a while since I've been live. It's been a while. I miss this. I really, really do miss this. Uh, being away from YouTube is frustrating, especially in my situation. I was longing to come back. How you guys been? Oh, smoke. So you made it. Couple of hours. Sorry for the 4 hour sleep. Didn't mean to to make it like that, but anyway, I just got back from a family gathering, so I drank a lot of beer, ate a lot of meat, a lot of charcuterie, as you call it, or as we call it, charcuterie in proper French. So I made it back with a belly full of beer and meat. Your eyes are bleeding. If they're bleeding, you don't need to stay the long haul. Go get back. Go get some sleep again. Keep counting those tuxes. Them tuxes. Uh, hey, Karam Horani. Karam Horani? Is that Iranian or something? How you guys doing? I've been doing good. I've been working on XeroLinux, as you all know, and there is a third version coming as soon as it's ready. And I need to tell you all a lot of stuff that's been happening in the past year. فلسطيني أهلا بفلسطين بأهل فلسطين أهل فلسطين المحتلة as we call it here. Um, so there's been a lot of things happening on the back end of XeroLinux, and we'll talk about this uh, before we get into Bazzite, of course. So yeah, XeroLinux has been going through a lot of changes for the past few months. I have been working on optimizing KDE as much as I can. I learned a new command called systemd analyze blame, thanks to a lot of videos that talked about it. So I optimized it using that. So I disabled a lot of unneeded services. Users are free to re-enable them. Hey, Array, good to see you here. I disabled all unnecessary services. You are free. You will be free to re-enable them as need be. I didn't delete them. I just disabled them. Mainly some Pacman init and Pacman keyring related services that were causing the system to take upwards of 30 seconds to get to the desktop. So took care of that. Worked on GNOME, replaced Ghosty with Tixis. That's coming tomorrow or after tomorrow. It depends when I am able to upload. As for the KDE edition, unfortunately, I will not be releasing a version anytime soon, at least not until KDE 6.4 is released, and I make sure that all the settings and the beautiful XeroLinux attention to detail works on it. So yeah, unfortunately, KDE, the flagship, being the flagship, it should be released before anything else. But the KDE team scheduled it at a certain point in time where I'll have to wait before releasing an ISO. It would be. Don't you agree? Great, Smoke. Now I know who you are. So it would be smarter to release a version after 6.4 is released than releasing a version now and another version during the same month that has 6.4. So you'll have to put up with the old version for a little bit longer. So because I care about stability more than anything else. And I would like to thank and props to Smoke here for being the ultimate hero that he is. He helped me fix an ongoing issue with Mesa, where if I build an ISO right now and you install it and you have a hybrid system with NVIDIA and Intel, or NVIDIA and AMD GPU, it would result in an unbootable system. And thanks to him and for his resilience in testing, since he has an NVIDIA hybrid system, I don't. So I am fully AMD now, thanks to a good friend and collaborator to the channel. I don't know if you would like me to mention his name, but he has made it possible for me to become completely AMD. I now have a 7800 XT GPU with a 5950X CPU. So now I'm fully AMD, so I don't suffer all the NVIDIA crap. But thanks to Smoke for putting up with all this pain. He literally stayed up until 5 a.m. to be able to help me troubleshoot the Mesa issue. So what we did was we will be shipping a downgraded Mesa on the ISO, but you would be it would be recommended that you update the database first, the Pacman database first, install the NVIDIA drivers, then update the system and reboot. Only then will you not have any issues. And this is only targeted to people, mostly to people who are running hybrid Intel NVIDIA systems. Some of you, I know, have motherboards that don't allow you to disable the integrated GPU, having to put up with it. In this case, you will have to go through this. There's no other way for me to fix it, except to ship an older version of Mesa out of the box, update the Pacman database, install the drivers, then update the system and reboot. So thanks to Smoke. If it weren't for Smoke here, all this wouldn't have been possible. I wouldn't have been able to test and figure out that there was an issue. Because to me, I installed it on bare metal, AMD bare metal, AMD CPU, AMD GPU, no issues there. But for AMD hybrid systems, it's a big headache. Blame NVIDIA or blame Mesa. I don't know who to blame exactly, but it is what it is. This is what we have to put up with when we rely on upstream Arch. So yeah, but again, we have figured out the issue finally, and we have a workaround, which will require some diligence from you guys. Until Mesa is fixed, that's the only thing we can do right now. I know there are distros out there like CachyOS who have the patches already included that make things easier, but XeroLinux is not CachyOS, and CachyOS is not XeroLinux, so we all do things differently. So, and I've been working also on the toolkit, and this is the first time anyone will know about this, but I'm currently working on a Python a GUI front end for the toolkit. I'm not saying the toolkit will all suddenly become a GUI, no, because that's not the purpose of XeroLinux. The purpose of XeroLinux is mainly for you guys to learn your way around Arch. I'm not gonna make things too easy for everyone, because making it too easy would be going against the Arch philosophy. So the scripts will remain. It will remain. They will remain Bash scripts on the back end, but the front end, so the menu, the main menu, and the buttons will be GUI. So you click a button instead of things happening transparently behind the scenes. There will be pop-ups, terminal pop-ups. Like when you click a button, a terminal will pop up, and it will ask you the relevant questions. You'll have to read the output, and it's going to be completely transparent. I'm just creating a GUI front end because being completely 100% TUI based is not that great, even for me. With all the knowledge that I have, which is not a lot. So I'm working on it. It's going to take a while, but slowly getting there. I already have the main page created, and it's going to be using PySide 6. It's basically Qt-based Python GUI because I want to embed the terminal within the window. So other than that, I've been hard at work at optimizing the toolkit. And I did create, during my hiatus from YouTube, I did create a desktop environment install script, which Smoke here has tested the daylights out of. He put it to its paces. I promise you guys, Smoke is an amazing guy. So I don't know. There's not a lot of I don't get a lot of people who want to test and play around with things that I push out, but Smoke came to the rescue, and I can do no less than give credits where credits is due. So with the DE install script, what the DE install script does, basically it offers 4 desktop environments and 1 window manager for all you guys to install, bypassing the need to use Arch Linux profiles. Because for the longest time, and forgive me for this, Trox, if you happen to watch this, I'm sorry, but I have to say things the way they are. I'm not a guy who likes to pretend that nothing is wrong with Linux. So what's wrong with Arch install is the profile section. They are very nitpicky at what you offer to include in the profiles, in the desktop environment profile and window manager profiles. So I decided to create a script that would bypass that. So basically you install base Arch, so Packstrap and everything, skipping the profile section. You go through the Arch install from top to bottom, skipping the profile section altogether, completely. And then once you have the system installed and reboot, you will get a TTY. And then on that TTY, you would run a command on my wiki that's provided on my wiki, which will launch the DE install script. And that DE install script will offer KDE, GNOME, XFCE, Cosmic, and Hyperland. Why did I offer Cosmic? Because the Arch install profile for Cosmic is nothing to be proud of. Same for Hyperland. They made their own choices. I respect their choices. They're not wrong. Nothing is wrong. But they're weird. Like, they offer Dolphin instead of Thunar. But if you install Dolphin on Hyperland, it's going to bring with it a shit ton of KDE dependencies. We don't want that. The fewer dependencies, KDE dependencies we get on Hyperland, the better. So I opted for Thunar, so I created a profile for Cosmic. I created a profile for Hyperland. I created a profile for KDE, which is my own selection. I took the meta packages apart, I dissected them, and I selected only what's needed. So you guys get a full yet balanced KDE experience. Same for the rest. So let me get back to the comments a little bit before I babble on for any longer. You do know I can configure Intel plus AMD. I'm the guy behind StormOS. Well, Benji, we know you can because you're one of the few people who has that configuration, which is a headache to configure. That's for sure. Yeah. Oh, hey, Josh. Josh, you are the most sneaky person I've ever met, because you mentioned Hyper and Hyper currently does exist as a script, not as a distro. It will never exist as a distro, but it does now exist. So you were right. I did it. I did it. I did it. You sneaky little man. You said it would happen, and it did happen. But I owe everything related to Hyper to D-Dubs, and most of all, the man who put on all the work is Array. Array did all the work. So thank you, Array, for everything that you have done. Kudos. Without you, the Hyper config wouldn't have existed. And D-Dubs, of course, for being the wise advisor that I hoped he would be. Yep, it's Hyper. It's Hyper. It's not Zero Hyper, because Zero Hype is, there's the R, the missing R. So I decided to call it Hyper. But you know what I'm talking about, Josh. But yeah, it did happen as a script, not as an ISO. I'm never going to create an ISO, because maintaining an ISO that's a window manager that I'm never going to touch. Window managers and I are like oil and water, will always be, and that's about it. Yeah, D-Dubs is the best. He's one of the best advisors you can have on a team. He's been around window managers. Heck, he uses Hyperland on Nix. So, and he has used all types of Hyperland configs imaginable. So, yeah, that's why I chose him, and he's like a brother to me. He had my back for the longest time. So, yeah, he's been with XeroLinux since day one. So let's put it that way. So yeah, that's what I've been doing behind the scenes. I created multiple other scripts, which I'm not going to get into. There's one small script that I created recently that some people are loving, which is an update script that added a certain personality to Linux. It talks to you like a geek. It's got geeky syntaxes, like it welcomes you in a geeky way. It, when there's a reboot, it tells you that a reboot is required while being all too geeky. So nerdy, geeky, whatever you want to call it. But so it's called UPD. You run, if you are using XeroLinux, you just type UPD in terminal, and you will get the nerdy geek / geeky personality. I did that for fun. It took me just 15-20 minutes. So I've seen Hypers. Looks fantastic. Yeah, it does. But that doesn't mean I'm ever going to use Window Manager ever. I have it installed on my laptop, the one and only laptop that I will be looking at Bazzite on. But Bazzite is installed on an external SSD, so it doesn't mess with the Hyper config. I will continue to use Hyperland on the laptop, but never on my main rig. It's never ever gonna happen, so don't even try to convince me otherwise. I'm not closed-minded. I found my home, and I like to stay home. I'm a man of old habits. I'm not young. I'm going to be 45 in August, so if I were younger, like 20 years old, yeah, I would have had patience to learn other desktop environments or window managers or whatever, but I'm too old to relearn everything. You think it's funny? What do you think is funny, Josh? Yep. Smoke, you did help, and kudos to you. That's why I consider you one of the official XeroLinux testers. You're the only tester besides Array, of course, but Array did the Hyperland stuff, and he's doing his own separate work right now on Nix, which is amazing. He's doing an amazing job on Nix. Bravo, Array. You're doing more than I would ever do. I don't have the patience to go into Nix, which is not a real distro, by the way. Wink, wink. I'm too drunk to be able to wink the right way. But you're 50. Okay, I take that back. I'm not too old, but I'm old enough to not have the patience. Let's put it that way. Okay, Smoke. You got me beat there. 11 years my senior. Okay, daddy. 0. I know hype. Yeah, oh, bravo, Josh. Bravo, Josh. Well, you still remember that Xero means I know. And by the way, people, in case you didn't know, XeroLinux is not pronounced XeroLinux, but I let it slip because you're not Greek like I am. So you can pronounce it however you want, but the actual pronunciation of Zero is Xero. XeroLinux. Xero means I know Linux, so I know Linux. Josh remembers. Thank you, Josh. And for that, I give you a kudos. Sorry, I'm a little bit hazy after drinking 6 beers, 10% alcohol each. Oh my god. Yeah, Josh, NixOS is about as a real distro as Arch and Gentoo. I do agree. I don't disagree, except that Arch uses a Linux language, the universal Linux language, whereas Gentoo and Nix, Moon, Saturn, Earth. Arch is Earth. Gentoo is Saturn. Nix is a different planet. So they each, but in general, yeah. Anyway, that's what's been going on with XeroLinux. So the upcoming releases are as follows. GNOME will be released first, either tomorrow or after tomorrow. Depends when I can upload them. Upload it. KDE when Plasma 6.4 is released, and I make sure everything is working. So towards the end of the month, hopefully before. As for the third one, I'm not going to tell anyone what the third one will be. It will be a surprise. And it's not Hyperland, Josh, so don't even mention it. So it's coming. The ISO is already built. The ISO boots. The ISO works. It's just that I'm going to give you a hint. The desktop environment is still in alpha stages. There you go. That's all I'm going to say about it. So once the stable version is released, I will give it 6 months. And then only then will I release an ISO. So it's a long time coming. NixOS distro review. Well, maybe next month we'll look at Nix. Who knows? I'll put Nix into the monthly poll on Fostodon, and if it wins, I'll have no choice but to look at it. I'm not gonna refuse any distro that wins, no matter how difficult it is to look at. No, it's not Neary. I gave you the hint, and the hint is very telling. So, in case you can't tell from the hint I gave, then you've been living under a rock. Oh, the StormOS will be in the poll, but don't blame me if it doesn't win. But if it wins, I'll have to look at it. No problem. I have no judgment at all. Will never judge a distro ever. If it's good, if it's bad, it's not a review. It's an overview. A monthly Linux distro overview. So we look at it together, and you form your own opinions. Vulver! We got a winner! Winner! NixOS with Hyperland 30-day. If it wins, I would have no choice but to look at it. Oh my god! But I hope it wouldn't win because then I'll be suffering. You're gonna see Dark Zero suffer for real, just for you guys. You'll smoke. Do we have someone who will betray his own? Who will betray XeroLinux? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We don't want that now, do we? Well, yeah, as I already said. Thank you. I could use the help because I would be sinking. It's like me not knowing how to swim, being in the middle of the sea, drowning in NixOS code. We don't want to drown in NixOS now, do we? We don't want to see Dark Zero drowning in NixOS code. Please don't. Don't do this to me. You want XeroLinux to continue, don't you? Oh yeah, Smoke, you have installed your fair share. I am witness to that. And thank you again. I can't thank you enough. But with that said, that's all that's been happening behind the scenes. So shall we switch to Bazzite? By the way, if you pronounce it Bazzite, you'll be saying titties because biz in Arabic is titty. Just a useless piece of information. I didn't know why. I don't know why I had to share that, but being tipsy makes you kind of weird. So, ooh. Okay. All right. Let's get into Bazzite. Yeah, I forgot the keys on. I haven't streamed live in ages, so I'm still rediscovering the buttons I have to click in OBS. So, anyway, as you can see, we have Bazzite on screen now. Anyone know Bazzite? I know nothing about Bazzite. All I know, it's a gaming distro based on Fedora, and it's I don't know what the term is. It used to be immutable, but I don't know what the new term is. I can't keep up with all the terminologies. But it's a containerized gaming distro of sorts. And by the way, we won't be able to play any games because it's installed on a ThinkPad from 2020. It's a T14 Gen 1. As you can see, it only has an iGPU, so can't play games. So, what shall we do? So, yeah, as you can see, we got Tixis, I think. So let me see. 448. Okay. So now that I can see actually what I'm doing. So we're running terminal, which is I think Tixis. It says terminal, but it's Tixis. Let's see. Tixis. See, it says gitlab.gnome.org something Tixis. So I don't know what's so special about Tixis. Does anyone know why Tixis is better than any other terminal? Because that's what I'm including on the XeroLinux GNOME edition because I saw it on Bazzite. That's the only reason I included it. If Bazzite would include it, and it's a GNOME project, why not include it on GNOME? So, but can anyone here explain to me what is the benefit of Tixis over any other terminal? Oh, you uninstalled it because it was immutable. Yeah, I wouldn't use immutable because if there's one thing that annoys me about immutable or whatever they call it these days, distros, is the fact that every time I run an update, it's 4 gigabytes, 5 gigabytes, 7 gigabytes, 9 gigabytes, 10 gigabytes. Like, I have 220 gigabytes a month quota. Yes, I'm from Lebanon, so third world country, internet sucks. We don't have unlimited. But because of that reason, I cannot keep updating getting 5, 10 gigabyte updates every time I run an update. Like on Arch, I barely get what, a maximum of 300 megabytes every day, or 20 megabytes if I update every day. If I update on a daily basis, I don't even get 20 megabytes, maybe 15. But if I leave it for a week, yeah, the longer you leave it, the larger the update. But I've I've ran an update on Bazzite every day, and every day I have like 2, 3, 4 gigabytes of updates. I'm like, what the hell? Tixis is easy to configure. It uses same backend as GNOME terminal. Yeah, and because zero GNOME tends to stick as close as to GNOME as possible, Tixis would be a smart choice. Was a smart choice, because I wanted to ship GNOME terminal with transparency, because who doesn't want transparency? But that GNOME terminal is as old as time. It still is based on GTK 3 and GNOME 3.38. So I wanted something more bleeding edge. I first tried Ghosty, but Ghosty was complex to configure because it was a configuration file, no GUI. Whereas this one, you just go to preferences and you configure it to your heart's content. You already have built-in themes on Zero GNOME, because we stick with Advaita Dark, libadvaita Dark, so it stays libadvaita Dark. But you have the choice to select multiple themes, and transparency, you can select it from here. And by the way, Smoke, on Bazzite, I didn't have to run the command that you included on Discord to get the transparency dialog. It was there from the get-go on Bazzite. I don't know if they're running that command behind the scenes or not, but it was there after installation. People like it because it's a more up-to-date version of GNOME. Yeah, I agree with that, Smoke. Because it's got transparency, it's got built-in themes, shortcuts. You can set up your own terminal shortcuts from here, and you got a lot of settings. It's very customizable. And you can set your own profiles, which I have on Zero GNOME. I had to figure it out the hard way. The only way you can apply a pre-configured profile is, on a distro, if you're maintaining a distro, is it has to be done via dconf editor or dconf import command. They unlocked it. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did with mine, with Zero G. I enabled transparency via dconf. I had to do it that way. There was no other way to enable it out of the box. But if you install Tixis after having installed the system, then yeah, you'll have to do the command. You can also it for fish or bash. What do you mean? I can also it. What it? I know you just woke up. I'm not making fun, of course. Respect, but I don't get what it means. Enable it, like transparency? Use it. Okay. Yeah, true that. And since it's a gaming distro, it already includes Lutris, Steam. I think it includes Proton Plus. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I'm typing on the wrong keyboard. Proton Up. It includes Proton Up Qt, whereas other gaming distros include Proton Plus for whatever reason. I don't know what the difference is, but I already downloaded GE Proton. Yeah, of course. Like console on KDE, like any other terminal. You just have to set it, change shell. CHSH, sudo CHSH, and you set it to whatever you want. But as you can see, I already downloaded GE Proton, not that we're going to use it, but Proton Up Qt is a very useful toolkit. You just click add version, you select whatever you want, and you install. It will already put it in the Steam compatibility tools folder. What else? It includes Firefox out the box. They still include Firefox. Why? This is just my opinion. But wouldn't it be better to include a generic browser instead of including something like Firefox or Chrome or any of the big browsers out there? Because that's going to initiate a browser wars. Just include a generic one like XeroLinux will in the next versions. KDE will have Falcon. GNOME will have Epiphany, the every desktop environment's respective browser. You love Firefox, Smoke. No judgment. I'm not here to judge. But I'm saying overall, instead of having a distro shipping Firefox or Chrome or Vivaldi or Brave and having users complain, why did you include this? Why did you include that? They're doing things the wrong way, blah, blah, blah. Why give chance to criticism when you can include a generic browser out the box and let the users choose later on what browser they like? This is only my opinion. And this is what XeroLinux reflects my opinions. If you disagree, you're free to install or uninstall whatever you want. That's the freedom of Linux. And I will never judge anyone for it. But why open the door for criticism? I decided to go neutral. Completely neutral. Of course, Falcon is not as good as Firefox or Vivaldi or anything else. It's a very basic browser. It just lets you browse the web. That's it. It already has a basic ad blocker, but I only use Falcon to browse YouTube when I don't want videos to show up on my timeline. I just open YouTube without logging in, watch the videos that I want to watch, and no, it's not prawn. I'm talking about legit videos, but they happen to be Arabic or Chinese or Mandarin or Cantonese or Korean or whatever. I don't want them to show up on my timeline, so I watch them in Falcon. That's all I use Falcon for. For things I don't need to show. But Falcon is functional as a browser. That's the whole point. Are usually just a copy of Chrome. No, I disagree with that, Jared. By the way, welcome. The basic browsers, they're not copies of anything. Like Epiphany looks like Firefox, but is not Firefox. Falcon looks like a mixture of like Firefox and Chrome had a baby, but it's not. They are their own thing. Like, I think Falcon uses WebKit, so does Epiphany. So I disagree with that. Even if you go to the settings of Epiphany or Falcon, they're not the same setting dialogues as Chrome or Firefox. Like Epiphany, it might look like Firefox, but it's not. It's very, very, very stripped down Firefox if you want to look at it that way. But Falcon, it's KDE. Basically, if you go to the Falcon settings, it's KDE. They're tied directly to KDE settings. You don't see any Chrome-based settings. They're not even. Falcon is not even compatible with Chromium-based or Firefox extensions. It's not compatible with any extension. Same with Epiphany. Epiphany doesn't support extension. So if they were a copy-paste Chromium or Firefox, they would have supported extensions. So there's that. Anywho, babbling on too much. And the way you update the system, I discovered by hitting the update, this was familiar to me. Very, 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 very familiar to me because XeroLinux ships, if you didn't know, with Top Grade. Top Grade is a Rust-based update everything tool. It updates your firmware. It updates your native packages, your Flatpaks, your AUR packages, your Git repositories, anything you have, your Python, everything. It's an all-in-one updater tool, but I don't enable it by default. I don't make it visible by default because it's very dangerous. It's very, very, very dangerous. If you have a lot of Git repositories and you run it, it might update your Git repositories when you specifically didn't want it to. So that's why it's hidden on XeroLinux. If you find it and you know what you're doing, use it. But don't if you don't know what you're doing. So why am I mentioning this? Because as you see on the header bar or the thingy here, it says Top Grade. Bazzite is using Top Grade as a backend, a Top Grade wrapper that they customized to work with Bazzite. And as you can see, it's running RPM OS tree, basically. It's a wrapper for RPM OS tree and other things at the same time. So that's how you update Bazzite. You don't run RPM OS tree update or whatever. You have to run either through the toolkit, the menu entry that they have here, or you have to run a command called ujust update. Ujust is just an alias for that they customized to work with Bazzite. Ujust is not a wrapper only for Top Grade, an alias for Top Grade. It does a lot of other things. So we'll wait for it to finish. Excuse my connection, though. Excuse my connection. We'll wait for it to finish. Bazzite is an awesome distro, by the way. I have nothing against it. I'm not knocking it. Bazzite, they put a lot of work into it. It's just not for me because of my internet situation. If I had unlimited internet and a fast one at that, I so envy you guys with gigabit internet and so on. But if I had a similar internet as you guys, I wouldn't have knocked it. As you can see, it's updating now Flatpaks. Because also, there's another thing to point out about Bazzite. Since it's an immutable distribution, you cannot install packages like system packages. You have to rely on Flatpaks. Because if you install system packages, since it's an image-based distro, every time you update, it's going to replace your current image with a new image, if that makes sense. So it will undo all your system-based stuff, packages. So that's why it's recommended to stick to Flatpaks on this one. So if you want an application, you get it as a Flatpak. So I'll show you ujust. And I love this about their terminal. When you open it, you get all the documentation links, issue report links, Discord, Mastodon, Blue Sky. I love this. One day I'll rip it off and include it on XeroLinux, but not right now. So you type just, and when you open it, let's make it full screen. Okay, so as you can see, ujust has a lot of tags. I love this. Ujust benchmark, run 1 minute system benchmark. We're not going to do that here because it's an old ThinkPad. But Bazzite CLI, mod bluefin style CLI, Bing. Okay, I don't know what that is. CLI BIOS. Boot into the devices by... Whoa. You can boot to the BIOS directly by using UJust. BIOS info. Show BIOS info. Change logs. Show the stable change log. Nice. I should include that on XeroLinux somehow. That's an idea I could rip off. Sorry, Bazzite guys. I'm ripping off some of your I want to rip off some of your stuff. What else? Check local override. Okay, clean system check for... no, it's clean up old unused Podman images, volume, Flatpak. Yeah, because it's an image-based system, so it uses Podman. Configure Broadcom. Oh, you can even... If you have a Broadcom Wi-Fi, you can configure it using UJust. I just discovered that. Didn't read it. Configure Grub. Configure Grub boot menu visibility. Pass action help for more info. Okay. Configure NVIDIA. This is another good thing about Bazzite. When it comes to NVIDIA GPUs, they got it covered. They got you guys covered. So basically, think of Bazzite like SteamOS on steroids that supports NVIDIA GPUs. They even have a handheld version of Bazzite. This is the desktop version, naturally, since we're not using it on a handheld. But yeah, that's good. That's an awesome thing, because as we all know, NVIDIA can be a bitch to deal with on other distros, like on XeroLinux, Arch Linux, whatever. But what can we do? It's the nature of Arch and all Arch-based distros. I'm on AMD, so I'm a winner here. Configure Grub, NVIDIA Optimus. NVIDIA Optimus for Optimus laptops. Asus Optimus laptop. Nice. Configure snapshots. Configure snapshotting for VAL Home. Nice. Configure Watchdog. Yeah, Watchdog is not for everyone. Device info shows device info. Disable auto mounting. Yeah, because you can enable auto mounting on Bazzite. You can disable it here. DistroBox assemble. Nice one. DistroBox is an amazing tool. I used it before. I don't need it anymore because I'm on Arch. And on Arch, we basically have access to everything. If you're using Ubuntu or Debian, yeah, you would need DistroBox if you want access to Arch packages or whatever. Arch, we have the AUR, and a lot of the AUR packages are Deb packages converted to Arch. So basically, we got everything that Debian and Ubuntu have, plus more. DistroBox new, of course. Enable auto mounting, of course. Deduplication for BTRFS. I know nothing about BTRFS, even though it's enabled on XeroLinux during installation. That doesn't mean I know anything about it. So choose BTRFS, but the knowledge is on you. I want to remind everyone that, because not everything included on XeroLinux I know anything about. I just include them because they were requested to be included. I don't have enough room in my brain to stock all this knowledge. And so on and so forth. I'm not going to go through all of them, or else we'll stay here until tomorrow. But you get the idea. UJust is a very good tool that they created. I love it. I would use it any day if I used Bazzite. I don't use Bazzite. I will never use Bazzite because I have my own distro. So I'm not going to use something else. I use my own distro because I created it primarily for me, that I'm sharing with the world. So, and it's my home. It's been my home for 5 years. So, 5 years. This year it'll be celebrating its 4th year anniversary of being stable, because the first year I don't count it. It was beta. It was me experimenting with the world, but it's going to be 4 years old this year. No, wait, it's going to? It has already celebrated its 4th. Where did time go? It celebrated its 4th anniversary on May 5th, 2025, basically, this year. So yeah, XeroLinux is 4 years old, and here's for another 14, hopefully, if I'm still alive. So that's UJust. What else can we discover about Bazzite? It includes Discover, but only Flatpaks are enabled in Discover. If you go to System Settings, where do you see the settings? Huh? No. I want to go to Settings. Home. Oh, Settings is here. See? Only FlatHub is enabled in Discover because you cannot install native packages. If you install native packages after a major update, they're going to disappear. So only FlatHub is enabled. I love the wallpaper, by the way. Nice choice. Is chat working still? Are you guys still with me? I don't see anyone chatting. Have I been yapping way too long? Am I boring? Sorry. If I'm boring, please let me know. Because it's been a while since I've been back to a live to live streaming. If I'm babbling on too much, please let me know. Oh, okay. Thank you, Wolver. Taras. Hey, Taras. Welcome to the stream. So, yeah, Bazzite. That's Bazzite in a gist. It's running the latest version of KDE Plasma about this system. 6.35, 6.14, 6.9, everything except the kernel. All right. Thank you. I cannot pronounce your name. JS Gigux. So basically, the only thing it's not latest is the kernel. They have their own optimized kernel. And I need to point out one thing. If you see an old version of a kernel, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have the latest features of the latest kernel. Like if you see, for example, kernel 6.1 on a distro, and we are in 2025, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have some, if not all, the features of 6.14 or 15. They backport everything to an LTS kernel, and the point of an LTS kernel is to be stable, long-term service. So, like on the Steam Deck, for example, if you see kernel 6.1 or 6.11, whereas we're at 6.15 now, Valve backports all the features of 6.15 to 6.11 or whatever they have. So this needs to be known. So don't judge a kernel but only by its number. It's like judging a book by its cover. Never judge a book by its cover. It's you have to look at the changelog, and only then will you know what they have ported over from more recent kernel. And another recommendation is if you're running Arch or bleeding edge distros, it's always a safe bet to have an LTS kernel in case the bleeding edge one decides to crap the bed. That way you have a fallback. Never have only a single kernel and rely on a single. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket. Never ever do that. Like, for example, I have the LTS kernel just in case, like if the Arch decides to release 6.15, which they haven't yet, they instead of releasing 6.15, they released 6.14.9. I understand why, because 6.15 still has a few issues to resolve. I have whatever the version of the whatever the LTS version is. I have the LTS version just in case 6.15 when released craps the bed. If you don't have an LTS kernel or a fallback kernel, whatever that kernel might be, You only have yourself to blame in case things go sideways. Yeah, standby on LTS, for example, like JS Gigax said, is amazing on LTS, but it's not so great on the bleeding edge kernel. We've always had that standby, sleep, and so on and so forth issue with bleeding edge kernel. Just use LTS if you want to use sleep or hibernate. And for hibernate, it's always good to have a swap partition as opposed to swap file if you want it to work reliably. If you enable swap file, it's touch and go. But if you enable swap partition, and if you have 128 gigs of RAM, your swap partition is going to be 128 gigs. So you need to have a decently sized SSD for your system, for your, at least for your root partition. So because a big chunk of that will be taken for your swap, because swap equals to RAM size. If you have 32 gigs of RAM, then it's not a big problem. But if you have 128, 256, and if you're one of the lucky ones who has above like 256 or above, then you'll need a beefy SSD NVMe, and it's recommended to have an NVMe if you want it to be quick. Thank you, JS Gigax. Yep. You always have one kernel still good for me. Fallback Windows dual boot. Well, if you have a separate system as a fallback, then yeah, naturally you don't need a second kernel. But not everyone wants dual boot, especially that getting dual boot to work is kind of touch and go also, because if you want to dual boot Windows and Linux and all on the same drive, just separate partitions, you're gonna be in for a nightmare. But if you have two separate drives and you're doing it the right way, then yes. Windows, people keep talking about Windows and installing its bootloader on a random second drive. That is true if you have CSM enabled in your BIOS, which means compatibility something for MBR compatibility, and you have your bootable thumb drive, like the thumb drive that you create, your install drive, formatted as MBR, then yes, Windows will select random drives to install its bootloaders on, and it might happen to be your Linux drive. But if you have CSM disabled, only UEFI, and your USB thumb drive, your install thumbstick, is formatted as GPT for EFI compatibility, and then you create your bootable Windows installer, it will not install on a separate the bootloader on a random drive. It will install it on the drive you're installing Windows onto. That's something that people don't mention for whatever reason. And I thought I'd mention it here because it's a very important tidbit, like tip or whatever you want to call it. If you don't want Windows to install its bootloader randomly on your Linux partition, make sure the thumb drive is EFI, the install thumb drive is EFI formatted. I mean GPT formatted, so EFI. That your CSM is disabled in BIOS, and only then will it work correctly. You heard it here first, I guess, because every video I watch about installing Windows and Linux and dual boot don't mention that part. So the more you know. I discovered, I'm not gonna say I knew this a long time ago. I just discovered this year. I've been doing it the wrong way all along. I only discovered it this year. That's why I just formatted my Ventoy into GPT in GPT form, so I don't keep getting issues while installing Windows and Linux and dual boot. So there you go. Now you know. And if anyone wants to clip this part to keep it for safety, feel free. I think YouTube has a clipping feature. I only saw it on Twitch, but I don't stream on Twitch. But yeah. Anyway, more back to Bazzite. So Lutris, Steam. What else do we have for games? That's it. We have nothing for games. Oh, nice. Oh, Lutris, Proton Up Qt, Steam Big Picture Mode. Of course, if you want to, you can. And here's another recommendation for Bazzite. If you install the handheld version or the desktop version, it's ideal for living room HTPCs or gaming PCs. That way, you set Steam Big Picture Mode to start on startup, and that way, once you turn on your system, you're up and running and gaming. What's Wine ZGUI? I have no idea. You click it, nothing happens. Oh. What is that? Does anyone know what that is? OpenEXE. So is that Winetricks GUI? But Winetricks has a GUI. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to mess with it. I don't want to break the system. Although I'll be formatting this as soon as I'm done. What else do they include? It's a bare bones KDE. What's Sunshine? Self-hosted game Steam host for Moonlight. Oh, you can host your games for Moonlight on Bazzite. Even better. Multimedia. Why is it showing in both? That's a little bit weird. Open source media player with QML Haruna. Oh, it's kind of like VLC. Okay. Okay. What else? They don't include OpenOffice, LibreOffice. I get it. It's a gaming distro. Oh, yeah, but I would have included it. Not that I included on XeroLinux because I offer choices, but yeah. BTRFS Assistant. Oh my god. They're including a Garuda tool in here. Okay, they're including a Garuda tool. Well, I don't have anything against Garuda, except that the fact that it's a mighty bloated distro. Not all of it. They have light versions, of course, but their big version is too bloated for me. It's too confusing. Libre. Yeah, I use Libre. What is that? So, it's not respecting the system theme. And that here is what annoys me. I don't know if it annoys you guys, but it does me. It does me. Why? Because I'm a sicko for consistency. And if you install XeroLinux or have installed XeroLinux in the past, you would notice that it's completely consistent from Grub onwards. If an app doesn't use the system theme, I would stay up for days making damn sure it's consistent. Theming is consistent across the board. So to me, that BTRFS Assistant is not using respecting the system theme, that annoys me to no end. I don't know how to use BTRFS Assistant. Don't ask me. But I know it's by the Garuda guys. It's an amazing tool. It works. I think it's one of the very, very, very few working snapshot manager and whatnot. So I would include it on XeroLinux, but I don't want to include something I don't know how to support, you know? Exactly. But that's if we were on GNOME. I don't know if it works on KDE. So the way I make my GTK apps work on KDE is via a command somewhere. I make it run a command. I don't remember because I've done it so long ago. What else? System, BTRFS, Discover, Dolphin, of course. This doesn't do anything. So they don't include a lot of bloat. Respect to the Bazzite team. They just include the necessary things to get games up and running. And I just saw something that made my eyes go big. Yeah, I wish I could include this on XeroLinux out of the box, but I can't include Flatpaks. And I'm not going to include the native version of it because it's not the way it was meant to be installed. But Warehouse. What can I say about Warehouse? Warehouse is the magical tool for all users using Flatpaks. I love Warehouse. Warehouse is a love affair with me because I tend to use 90% Flatpaks, or let's say 60% Flatpaks over 40% native. Why? Because I prefer to avoid dependency issues. Because if you use a native package and then Arch decides to move one of its dependencies to the AUR or delete it, for heaven forbid, then this application will end up not working. You end up not being able to update the application, your system not working correctly. So instead of going through all these headaches, I tend to use Flatpaks. Because Flatpaks have their own dependencies, containerized dependencies, and they will never stop existing. They will tell you that this dependency is no longer maintained, but it will take ages for them to delete it. By that time, you would have switched to something else. And to manage your Flatpaks, Warehouse. Warehouse is the best tool I've ever seen for Flatpaks. I'll give you something really big. Now, don't look at the cursor. It seems that Bazzite developers have not yet included the patch that fixes the ugly cursors on GTK apps. I hope they include it soon. So if anyone from the Bazzite devs is watching this, fix the cursor issue. But snapshots. If you have an application, let's say you have Firefox and you want to back it up, you don't need to copy and paste multiple files. You just no. How do you do that? Okay, you go to snapshots, you create new snapshot, you select the application which you want to back up. Let's say this Haruna, whatever. You give it a name. Let's say 0. You say create, and there you go. It created your backup. Where do you find the backups? Easy. You just go to home, you go to var app warehouse. There it is. Data snapshots. There you go. And they're not multiple files, they're just 2 files. A zip file and it's JSON that tells the zip file where to extract. That's it. Just back up those 2 files, and then when you want to restore them, when you bring them back into their correct location on the new system, you just click apply, and it will apply the snapshot. That's it. You backed up and restored your data. You can install Flatpaks from here. Now, it's not a pure store per se. You don't have a list of available packages, but if you're looking for, let's say, Discord, you find it here, and then you select everything you want to install, and you install everything in one go. And if you uninstalled an application and you want to get rid of its data, you just click here. Bye data. You saved yourself disk space. You can't do that with native packages now, can you? You uninstall a native package, but all the cruft, it will be left behind. Unless you know where to look and delete them manually, you won't be able to. With Warehouse and Flatpaks, there you go. You uninstall an app, you don't want its cruft. It will even prompt you when you uninstall an app. Like, for example, you want to uninstall, let's say, not FlatSeal. You want to install Kcalc. You want to click. Oh, it doesn't have data. You want to install Firefox. There you go. It will tell you want to keep the cruft behind. Maybe you need it. Who knows? But if you don't need it anymore, you select trash and you click uninstall. There you go. The app is gone. And all its data is gone. You have nothing left. So your disk space is free for you to use. Why don't more people know about this application? Although I made a video and other people made videos about it, but still not a lot of people know about it. And yet people hate Flatpaks. I don't understand. Is hating something gonna make you more famous? People are gonna look at you more? You're entitled to your opinion, of course, and I'm not gonna judge you for your opinion, but in this case, you're judging something when it's better than anything else out there. I'm not saying in all cases it's better. No, of course not. You cannot install system apps using FlatHub, or you cannot install system Flatpaks. Like, let's say, a kernel. Not yet, at least. You cannot install a kernel. You cannot install an OS from FlatHub. No. Tools like that, like system tools, you cannot install them via FlatHub. They think that is so big. Yes, that is true. File size wise, again, I find that wrong, because if people would look closer when they install a package. Okay, the package itself might be small. Let's say you want to install Firefox. Maybe Firefox itself, the Firefox binary might be small. But have you looked at all the dependencies it brings with it? If you combine the Firefox plus its dependencies, it would be equally as big as a Flatpak. But then again, FlatHub brings with it its own containerized mini systems. Like if you're installing a Qt app, let's say Kcalc, it's going to install the KDE environment, a mini KDE environment, for it to work. Without the mini KDE environment, if you install Kcalc on, let's say, GNOME, like when you install Calc, okay, Kcalc on GNOME, which is a KDE application, it's going to bring with it a lot of KDE dependencies. This is what FlatHub does. Same thing. Not any different. Except it brings a mini environment with it in order to run a Qt-based app on GNOME. Whereas when you install Kcalc on GNOME as a native package, it's going to bring Kcalc plus 100 different dependencies, because those are the dependencies that it relies on and libraries that it depends on to be able to run a Qt-based app on GNOME. Same situation. Not any different. That's all. So, judging Flatpak negatively, I see it as, I don't agree with it. That's all. I'm not going to say it's good or bad. I'm just going to say I disagree with it. Why would you need Flatpaks? I just explained why, Tadas. Because they save you from dependency hell. And I'll give you another example why you would need Flatpaks. Like you're on Debian, let's say, a Debian base, where they ship old, decrepit versions of applications. And you reach a point where you think to yourself, oh, why is Debian shipping, let's say, OBS version 29 still, or version 27 still? You want to use the latest and greatest version of OBS. Well, there you go. You install it as a Flatpak, you get the latest and greatest version. You get version 31.0.3 instead of sticking with Debian or Ubuntu's aging version 27. If you want to get past the Debian and Ubuntu or whatever old packages, you use Flatpaks. You get the latest and greatest. That's one scenario. Another scenario, like I showed on Bazzite Warehouse, you can back up, restore data easier than you can do with native packages. Another reason, if you install a native package and you want to uninstall it, all the stuff, all the data of that said package will remain on your system, and it will keep occupying that space on your hard drive because you won't know where it put all of its data. Some of its data might be in your home directory, other on the root directory, and another one on a separate directory. You're gonna have to hunt and chase all the cruft that this application left behind. Whereas with Flatpaks and Warehouse, uninstall the app. It's gonna prompt you if you want to get rid of the data. Done deal. You saved yourself a lot of space. So Flatpaks have way more advantages over native packages. And plus, you want to suffer the dependency hell, it's up to you. It's a choice. I'm just letting you know why Flatpaks are better than native packages. You asked the question, I'm answering. So I prefer Flatpaks. I will forever use Flatpaks when I can over native ones. And there's another case where Flatpaks are better, like OBS. There's only 2 versions of OBS that are officially supported by the developers, and that's the Debian, the Deb package, or the Flatpak. Deb package, you cannot install it on anything but Debian-based distros. So if you're not on a Debian-based distro, what do? You install the Flatpak. Those are the only 2 versions officially supported by the developers. And they mentioned it time and time again that they will never provide support to packages that are not the Flatpak or the Deb package. If you got it on Arch, from the native Arch from the official Arch repositories, they're not going to support it because the Arch team decided to ship a broken version, an incomplete version. It's up to you, unless you decide to compile, to go through the agony of compiling the AUR version maintained by one of the developers on the OBS team. And I promise you, it's agony. It's agony. I went through it because it has to compile Chromium and it has to compile a shit ton of things. You're going to end up wasting hours of your time just trying to compile OBS. That being said, so I can give you another example where that's the same case. Lutris, Bottles, what's it called? Something that Bazzite does not include in the game's thing. It's Heroic. Heroic, same thing. The developers of these applications are only going to support the Flatpak version. If you install it any other way, 0 support, unless you ask the maintainer who's maintaining that specific non-Flatpak package, and they're going to give you support. It's up to them. But the official creators, the creators of the official packages, are not gonna support anything but the Flatpak. So you're on your own if you install it any other way. Yeah, well, Taras, any Ubuntu user is gonna talk shit about Flatpaks because they wanna, because the only packet format they endorse is snaps, and snaps are a nightmare to manage, and they are specific to Ubuntu. You can install snap. Technically, you can install snaps on any other distro, but they're not meant to be used on any other distro but Ubuntu. Use them outside Ubuntu, you're on your own. Do you want to be on your own? Do you want to be left in the middle of the sea not knowing where to go to get support? Or do you want to get support when a problem occurs? If you want to get proper support for an issue that occurs, use the official packages that the developers of said applications recommend. It's like you buying a Ferrari and then deciding to go to Honda to fix your engine. How does that work? You buy a Ferrari because it was being sold by some rando out there, and you decide to go to Honda for support. Or to go back to that unknown person for support. That guy who sold you the Ferrari is not going to know anything how to fix a Ferrari because he just got the car and he just got it to sell it. And now you want to get proper support and you're asking for premium support from a guy who knows nothing about Ferrari engines or anything. What are you going to do? He's going to refuse you support because he's not the guy who created the car. He's going to tell you, hey, I didn't create the car. I'm just here to sell the car. Done deal. Now you know why it's better to install the official packages than install something offered by somebody else. Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree with that, Myron. I agree with that. But except I use my Steam Deck for retro gaming. So I have, what's it called? Batocera installed. And I have over 40,000 ROMs on there. Which I officially ripped from games that I own. Sorry. I don't want to get demonetized. But yeah, I got a ton of games on that thing. My battery lasts for 3-4 hours, sometimes even more. Not that I have touched my Steam Deck in the past 2 years. I only touched it when I got it. It was a new shiny toy and enjoyed it while I could. And now it's just sitting as decoration behind my screen. Retro gaming is amazing on that thing. I'm not gonna say trying to play AAA titles on the Steam Deck is wrong. I'm just gonna say it's unrealistic to expect more than an hour of game time. And if you're on a flight, on a 7-hour flight to Kingdom Come, and you don't have an outlet to charge your Steam Deck at the same time, then you're out of luck. So I prefer to play indie titles and retro gaming on that where the battery is going to last way longer. So I'm going to be enjoying the Steam Deck way longer than if I have a AAA title with no power socket to connect it. So yeah. What else should we look into on Bazzite? Does it have? Oh, it's behind me, but it's got the power profiles. It's on the laptop. It's got everything. Does it have Yakuake? No, it doesn't have Yakuake. Okay, I'm used to Yakuake. Yakuake is a drop-down terminal. If it doesn't have Yakuake, something is missing. But it's a preference. It doesn't have to be there. But I use Yakuake to update the system without having to occupy the terminal window that I'm using. So what else? How is Dolphin configured? Oh, Dolphin doesn't. Oh my God. Do you see what I see? Do you guys see what I see? Yeah. ROG Ally. If it weren't for all the issues that people went through with Asus and the ROG Ally, I would have liked it. But I already had a Steam Deck, so don't need more than one device. But I'm glad you liked it. But do you guys see what I see? If you, I'm gonna see if any of you guys will notice something wrong with this picture. What's wrong with this picture? Come on. Some of you might know. Something that annoys me to no end. Another thing that annoys me to no end. Come on, guys. I'm going to give you 15 seconds to figure it out. Look closely at Dolphin, and specifically Dolphin, the file manager. There's something missing. Not something wrong, something missing. Come on. Okay. I don't think any of you guys noticed anything. Of course, it uses Dolphin. This is the KDE version. It's Bazzite KDE version. I will never use anything but KDE. It's my desktop of life. Without KDE, I don't breathe. But what's wrong with this picture? Dolphin is missing something. Nope, not the menu bar. Although, yeah, the menu bar, I do agree, is missing. It's a hamburger menu. That's not what's missing. Okay. You won't figure it out. It's missing XDG user dirs. Here. XDG. Oh my god, I keep typing on the wrong keyboard. XDG dash user dash dirs dash update. Oh, you're on the phone. I didn't know. Sorry. Okay, they don't even include that. Okay, so I'm gonna dash force. Oh, okay. It doesn't allow me to do that even. Okay, limitation of Bazzite. So basically what XDG user does, they're my documents, my music, desktop, whatever in the left pane here. I cannot use a file manager without those directories created. Impossible for me to use it. I'll give you an example. I'll show you on my desktop. Okay, desktop window. Okay. Right. No, not that. No, middle left. Where's the right? Huh? Okay, select monitor. Okay, so I have to escape that one. Okay. Give me a second. I'm switching. 0 1. Okay. They're here. Home, downloads, desktop, documents, music, pictures, trash, video. So as you can see, those directories are missing. It's kind of annoying, isn't it? I know it's under home. I'm not talking about them being available under home. If they're not available in the left pane here specifically, I cannot function. I cannot function. I don't want to have to keep going up a directory or up 1,000 directories to get back to the home directory to get access to my documents and everything. Having them bookmarked here. I know you can manually bookmark them later on, but why have to do that? Go through the extra steps to create those. Just enable XEG user dirs. Where is that gonna hurt? Yeah, I know you can do that, Wolver, but why have to go through all this in the first place? Why not have XEG user dirs enabled by default? That gets me so angry. And I recently had to suggest that to the Arch install developers for Cosmic, because Cosmic don't include that. But on XeroLinux, as somebody hinted, upcoming XeroLinux Cosmic Edition, it will be enabled. You're going to have all your folders on the left. You don't have to create anything manually. Same with Hyperland and Thunar. I enabled that. If you install Hyperland using the XeroLinux DE script or install Hyperland via the config I created. Yes, I created a Hyperland config thanks to Array and ddubs, as I said earlier. The XTG user dirs, GTK this time, for Thunar to work, are enabled by default. The less user has to do post-install, the better. I'm thinking of you guys. I'm not only thinking of myself. I'm thinking of you guys. A lot of people tend to prefer things to be done for them. I do what I can without looking like a spoon feeding kind of distro out of the box. Ah, thank you, Taras. That means a lot. Yeah, XeroLinux does that out of the box. XeroLinux already includes Ventoy. Instead of telling the user, go get Ventoy, go configure Ventoy, go whatever. XeroLinux includes Ventoy out of the box. You just find it in the app menu. It does the basic necessary things for the distro to be useful. To me, Bazzite is doing a great job, but they still have a lot to do because shipping with Dolphin and no bookmarks on the left sidebar, unacceptable. Unacceptable. Hikari XEC uses it is not something we changed, so it's Fedora for default. Last time I checked, they were there after install, but that was in Fedora 41. Yeah, I don't know who to blame. I'm not blaming directly the Bazzite developers, but whoever is to blame, it's unacceptable. Because otherwise, the distro looks like it's trying to do everything for the gamer, specifically gaming, because it's a gaming distro, but it's trying to do everything, but it's falling short here. Is it because of Fedora? If it's because of Fedora, then Fedora need to get their head out of their hole, because also Fedora 42 has been through, let's just say, less than stellar reviews, especially for the audit. It failed the audit with miserably. It failed it miserably. So I don't know who to blame up in Fedora land, but it's not a very secure release this time around. They hurried it out the door and they missed all the checks. So that's according to maybe 6 or 7 videos that I watched. One of them being DJ Ware, and DJ Ware is very, very meticulous at his research. So I trust his research. So yeah, Fedora 42 is less than stellar, and of course, with Bazzite being based on Fedora, it has to follow the Fedora release cycle. It's unfortunate that it has to suffer the Fedora 42 issues, unless they did things to rectify those issues. I don't know. I don't know Fedora very well. I don't know how to look under the hood. But if it's the case, then great. If it's not the case, then unfortunate. But yeah, in a nutshell, this is Bazzite. I have Steam already logged in, and Steam does take a little bit too long to launch, but it could be because this is a ThinkPad from 2020 or 2021, or it could be that it's suffering the same thing that all Fedora distros are suffering from when it comes to Steam, where it has to cache everything and whatnot, and it's not finding any symlinks. But yeah, it works. As long as it works, it doesn't matter how long it takes, but it works. So you can install any app from any game from here. And GE Proton is enabled, so you just select the installed version and you are up and running. Now, this is not a video where I'm going to benchmark the distro or anything. So, yeah. Fedora package manager is too. I thought they included DNF5. I thought they included DNF5. So, and DNF5 being so much faster than the regular DNF. I don't know. I don't use Fedora, and you can't use DNF on Bazzite since it's a immutable distro. But I don't know. Anyway, you guys, I need to start wrapping this up. We've been almost 2 hours. I intended it to be only 1 hour long, but we went double. But okay, in closing, I would like to say this. What did you guys think of this live stream? Should I make keep it up? It's going to be a single live stream at the end of every month. Sometimes looking at distros, sometimes just chatting. Sometimes it's going to be different every month. So what would you like me to do next month? Maybe next month will be gaming. If you would like to talk gaming, I'm not going to be benchmarking or testing. I'm not a benchmarker or anything. I only have a 7800 XT. It's not the best GPU out there. So, but gaming. So, shall we do gaming next month? And which game? Okay, I'm gonna have a poll for next month about which game I shall play live on stream. It's gonna be a very limited choice. I'm not a gamer. I'm a cheater. I prefer to play games with cheats because it's all about the story. For me, it's not about the challenge. I couldn't care less about the challenges. If I wanted challenges, I go challenge myself to lose weight. That's a challenge. A game is not a challenge. I like to enjoy the story, and dying is like asking me to read the same chapter over and over and over again. No. So, but during that gaming live stream, I'm not gonna cheat, of course, because I'm gonna be on Linux. To cheat, I have to be on Windows. So I'll have a list of 3 games. It's going to be anything between Diablo 4, because I haven't finished Diablo 4. I still need to play the DLC. I haven't gotten into the DLC. I just killed that freaky bitch. Or it's going to be Expedition 33. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Or what was it that I was playing last? Oh, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, because I'm playing that game. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I love that game. Never finished it. I played the other one, the mini version of that game. But Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, I haven't played. I have it installed, but I haven't played. I played anything. George Castro is in here. Where's George Castro? I haven't seen you, George. What the hell? Did I miss you? What? Oh, there you are. You didn't miss anything, George. I can't believe I missed you. Oh my god. Oh, my apologies, George. You didn't miss much. Bazzite is an amazing distro. The only thing that annoys me about it is the fact that Dolphin doesn't have the XEG user DIRs. I guess it's a choice or whatever, but to me, it's a wrong choice. If you can fix that, that'll be great. Not for me. I'm not going to be using Bazzite. I have my own distro. But amazing work, Bazzite. Oh, the entire team is amazing. I've dealt with you guys before, and you welcome me with open arms, and I thank you for that. But few attention to detail. Maybe ship Proton Plus instead of Proton Up Qt. Proton Plus is more user friendly. Toggles instead of having to select stuff from the drop down menu. But other than that, the distro is amazing. There's nothing else to fault it. The fact that it's built on top of a Fedora 42 right now, it's not your fault, I know, but Fedora 42 received less than stellar reviews. So I don't know if you guys fixed anything under the hood, all the issues wrong with Fedora 42. But yeah, other than that, I need to really wrap up right now. I still have 10 minutes. So gaming next month. I'm going to be gaming on XeroLinux, of course. Other than that, so it's going to be. Oh, sorry, Doom Dark Ages. I forgot Doom Dark Ages. How could I forget Doom Dark Ages? Doom Dark Ages, Expedition 33, Diablo 4. Those are the 3 games that'll be in the running. Whichever wins, we'll be playing next month, at the end of next month. Also, you wondered why we include fixes. Because it's increased. Yeah, I know why you include fixes. I wasn't wondering why you include fixes. I was asking the general viewers why. Tixis manages distro boxes very well, integrates with DistroBox very well. Yeah, I know that. But since XeroLinux doesn't use DistroBox, I was thinking to myself, why would I include it in my distro? Then I thought to myself, what if users install DistroBox? And it's the up and coming. I think GNOME decided at some point to ship Tixis instead of console. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm. Yeah, and it's a good looking terminal, and it's another thing that annoys me about. There's one thing that annoys me about Tixis: it doesn't support images, like in fast fetch. I'm a visual guy. I like my visual rising and stuff. A well-rised desktop is awesome for me. So yeah, it's annoying. I had to try and use Java for the image backend, but that pixelates images like crazy. So I decided to include a text-only fast fetch on GNOME. Not a Dolphin regression unless it's upstream with Fedora, because I'm on KDE Arch. Never had the issue. XGG users work just fine. So it could be with something with Fedora. Yeah, I would agree with that. Doom, Diablo. uh, yeah, Pixis is an amazing terminal. If only it supported images for fast fetch. For me, it's annoying. So yeah, I ship it on GNOME, but hey, text only fast fetch, because my GNOME edition is a developer oriented version. I'm not saying I ship a lot of development tools in it, like Aurora DX or Bluefin DX or whatever. I call it dev spin because it's the most ideal DE for development, to have development tools on top of, since most dev apps are GTK based. So there you go. Thank you, Hikar Knight, for being here. George Castro, sorry I missed you again. But yeah, so next month we're going to have a game stream. Whichever game wins, we'll play on Linux, of course. It's a Linux channel, so of course it's going to be on Linux, not on Windows, and no cheating, of course. If I die, I die. It's just for fun. I'm going to start a new game. I'm not going to continue if what if Doom wins, for example. I'm not going to continue from where I left off. I'm going to start a new game just for Linux. I die, I die. I don't care. But because on the main game, on the main save, I cheated my way, of course, to where I'm at, and I don't want to mess that up. So we'll start a new game on whichever game wins, and yeah. As for upcoming videos, you will see new videos coming from my end. First video will be about the whole ideology behind XeroLinux and how I do my work on XeroLinux. And some people will be surprised, but others won't be. If I want to create an app, for example, or a bash script, I vibe code it. Something simple, I vibe code. Vibe coding can be good if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, don't vibe code. But if you know what you're doing, vibe coding is not all that bad. Just make sure what the code contains, and if it's safe, and if it's not stolen from somewhere. As long as you know how to do all these things, then vibe coding is not bad, especially when you're not doing a commercial product. If you're doing a commercial product, then don't vibe code at all, because you will need to support that product. For me, I vibe code. I understand what I'm writing. I know how to troubleshoot and all these things, and I know how to look at the code and see if it's stolen or if it's malicious. So vibe coding is for me because I don't know how to write anything from scratch to save my life. So there's that. Other than that, thank you for watching. And don't forget, next month there will be 2 releases, KDE and GNOME, but GNOME will come first. And once Plasma 6.4 is in the wild, so will Zero KDE, the flagship. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you like this content, to subscribe if you want to. It's not necessary. And if you want to support me, support the project financially, all the links are in the description below, as usual. And auf Wiedersehen, everyone. I'll catch you on the next one.